Hey guys, so recently been getting a lot of questions regarding the story series dolls, especially since I've been posting the remainder of the unboxings that I have, and a lot of the questions focus on the heights as well as comparisons to previous dolls. So I thought I would just address that with one video to settle all the questions that I've gotten so far. And I have the entire lineup except for Moana. And the reason that I don't have Moana is not that I don't like her or anything, it's just I got another playset featuring Moana and it actually has pretty much the exact same pieces and the doll is exactly the same. So I chose to just pass up on her because even her body looks pretty similar to the one that I already have. I don't know for sure if she's with the same dimensions as her classic doll, so I can't speak to that, but I do have the rest of the princesses and I will be showing them all in closer detail. And all the girls in the back, they do all have the exact same height. I know it may not look that way, especially with Anna being like shorter than Elsa, but that's actually because Anna gets they all have heeled feet, but Anna gets these flats while Elsa gets these solid heels, and I feel like the solid heels just hold her up better, so she ends up looking taller. And she also does have a wider face than Anna does, and I feel like that also contributes to her looking taller because it just kind of makes her look bigger. So we've got Raya and Aurora, Pocahontas, Elsa, Anna, Belle, Cinderella, and Tiana. They're all the same height and they all have heeled feet. All of them, that is, except for Miss Raya over here. She actually has the old Disney classic doll flat feet. That's not that big of a deal because her shoes do fit very nicely. I feel like they'd look odd as heels and there's no way to really make that work. So that's completely fine in my opinion. But the rest of these girls do have heeled feet and it is such a refreshing change to actually see them have nice shoes for once and not hideous flats. Elsa gets these nice gorgeous ice heels. Pocahontas gets these nice boots. They are heeled, you can't really tell, but they're not flat on the ground. They're like lifted up. I don't know if you can tell. And then we do have Aurora. She gets these really beautiful high heels with roses going all the way around. And then Anna does get flats and they fall off a lot, so she's barefoot right now. Unfortunately, Belle gets boring flats, but they are the flats that are fitted for heeled feet. Then Cinderella gets the shoes that she should have been getting all along. They're like crystal heels. And Tiana does, unfortunately, also happen to have those heeled flats. And the line of dolls in the front is shorter than the ones in the back. Out of this front line, Rapunzel is the tallest, only by a small bit though. And you can tell that she's definitely on a different level than Mulan is. And here she is compared to Tiana. And then Mulan, Jasmine, Snow White, Ariel, and Mirabel, they're all pretty much the same height, although Mirabel feels like she is just like an inch of an inch of an inch, like slightly shorter. But I feel like her big head kind of compensates for that, so I don't know. Here is just an example of one of the girls in the front next to Elsa. She's like a neck length shorter. And these all do also have heeled feet except for Mirabel, but even Tinkerbell actually gets heeled feet. I don't know if you can tell, but these are actually like heels. And even Mulan gets heeled feet, although they are the flats. Rapunzel gets slightly more interesting flats. They have little bows on them, but as you can see, they barely stay on. Jasmine gets really cool ones though. They are like heels with a nice design going all the way around and a jewel in the middle. Then Snow White does get the same pair of flats that Rapunzel does, but just in a different color. Ariel obviously does not get any shoes because she's wearing her tail, but she does have heeled feet. Then Mirabel gets her iconic shoes. They are no different from her previous doll releases. And Tinkerbell gets these really cute ones. And just a quick note, out of this entire line, Tinkerbell is the shortest. Disclaimer, again, I do not have Moana, so I don't know where she fits in all of this, but Tinkerbell is the shortest from what I have. And you can see that right next to Mirabel, she's like just a tiny bit shorter, and it makes sense. She's a fairy. She's supposed to be small and dainty. She does have like a pretty big head, so it looks kind of funny. And actually, Ariel's head and Mulan's head are smaller than Tinkerbell's. Tinkerbell's head is the size of Elsa's. And now I'm going to remove the princesses and focus on them one by one, comparing them to their previous dolls. Some of them may be from the classic releases, and some of them may be from the classic doll mega gift set released from a few years ago before the bodies were changed. So first up, I have Tiana. This is the story one, and this is the one that came in that mega pack that I was talking about. As you can see, she is like a cheaper version because the mega packs do tend to skimp out on the details. So she doesn't have her gloves, and she does have flat feet. as you can tell. They did change the color of the shoes as well. Like these ones are a deeper green and these ones are very light. They match this part of her skirt while these ones match this part of her skirt. So that's really interesting, and they did do a different take on the dress. As you can see, they shortened up these layers. The flower is exactly the same though, down to the little jewel in the middle. And this is also pretty much the same, although I will be honest and say that this one looks so much better just because it looks nicer and the cutout looks more defined. The line of glitter looks way better than this. This just looks very crudely cut. This one does have like a signature curl, although this one is like longer and feels curlier. Their hairpiece is pretty much the same, and so is their hair. But from a distance, you can tell that she's taller because she does have heeled feet, so that makes a lot of sense. And side by side, you can actually tell that the new Tiana's arms are a little bit wider. So as you can see right there, there's definitely a difference. It's not too big, but you can definitely tell. And she does have very like dark blush. It's very defined. I feel like hers is a lot lighter and they really focused on the dimples here. Over here, the blush just takes away from the dimple to the point that you almost can't see it, but here, you can definitely tell that it's there. And next, I'm going to talk about Cinderella. So I do have 3 over here. This is the story one. This is the one that was in the mega pack that I mentioned earlier. And this is one that came with a carriage playset. They are all pretty much similar. They do all have their blue ribbon, although this one's ribbon is just 1 shade darker than the other 2. So obviously she is like budgeted down, that's why this isn't mesh and this is just glitter covered, and so is this. So I'm just gonna focus on this one that came with the playset because I feel like she looks closest to classic Cinderella and I don't have a classic Cinderella to talk about at this time. So their hairstyles are pretty similar, although I will say that her bun is definitely nicer. It looks more voluminous, and the reason this one actually has a messy bun is because she's my test monkey. I basically use her for measuring outfits, trying on different clothes, that type of stuff, so she definitely gets a lot of wear and tear. They do have the same choker. Their makeup is very similar. They do both also have earrings, and I think they're actually one of like 2 or 3 dolls that get earrings. I know that Jasmine and Mirabel also get earrings, but the other ones do not, and that's just from the storyline. So as you can see, she has very thick sleeves. She's got mesh ones, and they kind of have more puffiness to them. And these ones don't cover her shoulder all the way, these ones do. The glitter is very similar. She doesn't have the little gems in the middle though. And she actually gets a darker, more opaque fabric while she gets a mesh one over here. And she gets this really nice print. I actually really enjoy this addition because I feel like it just adds a nice element to her dress. It's flowers underneath the mesh layer and it looks super cute. I really think that that makes the doll worth having. They do both also have the exact same gloves. And as you can see side by side, she's taller and she has flat feet with transparent flats. You can barely tell that they're there. And she has heeled feet with semi-transparent heels. I feel like her heels are just a little less transparent than hers are. Side by side, you can definitely tell that she's got thicker arms just by a little bit, and this one actually looks more rosy colored. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this one actually looks a little bit more tan than this one does. And now here's Snow White. This is the story one. This is the original classic doll, not in a gift set. So the first obvious difference I feel like that instantly catches your eye is the fact that the face molds are different. Hers is a lot wider than hers, and hers uses a lot more blush than hers does. Overall, the eye shape and stuff is pretty similar, but it feels like she just has more eye makeup. It's darker brown, hers is very light, and their lip colors are somewhat different. Also, their hair. I feel like her hair looks a lot better. I don't know what it is. I feel like this one is just very, very messy. And she does have a plastic hairpiece, while this one has a fabric one. They do have the white part on their dresses made of the same material. Their sleeves are pretty similar too, although this one gets that trim. Middle trim on this one is so much cuter. I really like it, and I do prefer the skirt on this one. I feel like it's so much more interesting. It looks beautiful with the 2 layers and one of them having like Snow White inspired motifs. I just feel like that's so beautiful. And this one does have heeled feet, but she's shorter than her. So this is the original classic one. They made her shorter, and even though she wears heels, she's still shorter. And side by side, you can definitely tell that her arms are wider. Her hands do look a little bit bigger as well. And now I have Mulan. This is the story one, and this is the classic one, not in a gift set. They have pretty much the same hair, the same face, but you can definitely tell based on the positions of their faces that she's shorter even though she is wearing heeled feet. And their outfits are pretty different too. I already discussed this on the unboxing for Mulan, but I do really love her outfit and hers as well because they're just so different from each other. And yet I feel like they fit Mulan perfectly. This one has some glitter on it. This one does not, except for the sash. And this sash does not have glitter on it, which is really interesting. And they do use different shades of green. She gets black shoes for this dress and light green ones for this dress. And side by side, this is what they look like. And when you pinch their shirt sleeves together, this is how thin her arms are. And then when you pinch hers, this is how fairly thick hers are. So she also has the same thickened up arms to be a little more realistic. Now these are my Rapunzel dolls. This is the story one. This is the one that came in the mega pack. And as you can tell, her face is definitely wider than hers. There is some height difference, and this one has heeled feet. This one does not. She also does not come with shoes. They are pretty similar, although the skirt of this doll has the glitter focused on in the middle, and this one is the opposite, where there's glitter on the skirt all over except for the middle. The corset part is pretty much the same, and the sleeves are very similar, but this one actually gets like this really nice addition to hers. And she also comes with a flower in her hair. I feel like this one's smirk is a lot more cuter and more Rapunzel-like. It just fits the face better, and although she has the exact same smirk, I feel like the bigger eyes kind of throw you off. Which face mold do you think is better? Anyways, here's the arm comparison. You can definitely tell that her arm is wider. And now here are my two Elsa dolls. This is the story one, and I feel like this might be a classic one, but I'm not 100% sure because I got her used at a thrift sale. As you can see, she has flat feet. I don't have her shoes. And she has her ice heels, and they're actual high heels. They're not flat. She's taller than this one is, not by too much, but it's enough to see the difference, and obviously her heels definitely add to that. I feel like her face is somewhat wider than hers is. I don't know what it is, but I also feel like this one's blush is a lot darker than hers. They look very different. For the dresses, the sleeves are pretty much the same, except this one actually has like a different material used for her dress. It's like faux leather almost. It's very stiff. And this one has fabric with printed on details on it, and it's all the same material of fabric going all the way throughout. They do both have the blue leggings underneath. Here's a side by side. You can definitely tell that her arms are just a little bit wider. Next up, I have two Ariels. This is the story one, and this is the classic one, not in a gift pack, I believe. The first difference you can see is definitely the fact that this one gets a much nicer top. It just looks so much better. I love the use of glitter on it. It looks beautiful. And this one just gets a boring same toned top, and it has clear sleeves. While this one gets this really, really nice ribbon going all the way around, and it velcros in the back. They do have the same hair color, and I think that her face is just slightly more like compressed, but they're pretty much the exact same thing. She is the tiniest bit taller than this Ariel, as you can see. She does also have a wider frame since Ariel doesn't have like a full top covering her body. You can actually see the difference, but all the dolls have a visible difference similar to this. Her body is very hourglass shaped, and here it's a little bit more boxy. It still has that hourglass like look to it, but it's less defined. Obviously you can see the differences in their tail. Hers is a deeper green, hers is more teal, and it does have this skirt on it. Both of them do have ruffles at the tops of the tail, but hers are much nicer and they match her top. And the fins on this one are sadly very lackluster. I feel like hers are nicer, and at least they're 2 layers versus just one. They make it look better. You can see that she has slightly wider arms. They're not too big, but you can definitely see the difference. And her hands are also just a little bit wider, I feel like. And now I have Tinkerbell. This one is the story one, and this one is the classic doll. They do both have the exact same wings, the exact same hair. I feel like the face molds are also pretty similar. I don't think that there's anything too different about them. They do have a very, very slight height difference due to this one having heeled feet and this one having flat feet. From the side, I feel like her body definitely changed the least just because you can't really see a difference in her arms. They're still thin and dainty, just like this one's arms. So overall, I feel like Tinkerbell changed the least. Next up, I have Belle. This is the story one, and this is the classic doll. They do have an identical hairstyle, pretty much the same face mold, but the story doll is taller than this Belle, and she does actually have heeled feet. This one has flat feet, but they do both have the same pair of flats on. One is just intended for flat feet, and the other is intended for heeled feet. Her dress is actually shorter. Hers goes all the way down to the ground, and hers does not, as you can see. It's like at the tip where you can see her feet still. This one gets glittery gloves. This one just gets plain gloves. And I feel like the skirts of the dresses are very different from each other, and I have to be honest, the look of this one is throwing me off because I feel like if you use this material, the bottom should just puff out more, and it looks weird with having this puffy and then having this go back to being thin. I much prefer her design, and also the colors are different. Hers is very yellow. Hers is like a golden yellow orange. Her arms are just the slightest bit wider, but it's not too noticeable. Next, I have one of my favorites, Princess Jasmine, and this is the story doll. This is the classic doll, not in a gift mega pack. And the very big difference that I see is that her skirt is very different from hers. So very obviously the story doll is shorter, and she actually has a wider face than she does. Hers is a lot more slim and oval shaped. Hers is less oval shaped, and it is wider for sure. They do have the same hairstyle and everything, but this one actually gets a plastic hairpiece, and she just gets a fabric ribbon going around. And she has black hair ties, and she gets ones that actually match the color of her outfit, which is a really nice improvement. Now, as for the outfits, you can definitely see that there's a major upgrade going on in the shoe department, because she gets these really nice heels, and she just gets this, and they're flat feet, so they don't look all that great. I wish that they were for heeled feet. Now, she gets a lot more gold detailing in the form of glitter on her outfit. She gets glitter outlines, and she does have her necklace. I just haven't put it on her. She comes with hers attached. They have the exact same earrings. Top-wise, I feel like hers is more interesting. Hers doesn't look as great, but skirt-wise, I definitely prefer this skirt because it looks so nice. But this one is definitely super beautiful too. And since she, just like Ariel, doesn't have anything covering her body, like the waist, you can actually see that this one has a wider waist. This one has a very, very thin waist. This is what they look like side by side. You can definitely tell it looks like super skinny here, and it looks a lot more realistic on this one. For Anna, this is the only doll I have to compare her with. I don't have one of her in this outfit except for like a fashion pack thing. As you can see, they have pretty much the same face, although her freckles are a lot more defined, and she has less blush, and it feels like her face is also slightly slimmer. And her eyes are somewhat smaller. Height-wise, she does have heeled feet, and the story Anna does too. This is the story Anna, by the way, I forgot to mention that. But she also has heeled feet, but she is just a little bit shorter than this Anna, as you can see. Other than that, I can't really compare their outfits because obviously they're different, but here's a side by side. This is the story Raya, this is the classic Raya, and they're pretty much the same, although her face has a lot more blush on it. Their tops are the same, but the undershirt on it, this one is actually like shimmery with some glitter. This one is just plain yellow, and she does have her belt, I just didn't put it on her. The material for her pants is a little different. So as you can see, there's like a print on it and everything, and hers looks different, like it has a texture to it. They do have the same shoes, and they do both have flat feet, and here's the side-by-side. Here's Pocahontas. This is the story one, and this is the one that came in the mega pack. This one is taller, as you can see, and she also has heeled feet. This one has flat feet. I do have her necklace and stuff, but I just didn't put it on her. And although they do both have their tattoos, this one is a lot of a darker color than this one. This one has like more of an orange tint to it. And this doll actually has a little bit more blush, and her eyeshadow is different than this one. It's just a close-up so that you can see better. And their outfits are also very different from each other. And of course, the fact that she's not wearing shoes is an obvious difference. But outfit-wise, I really like her outfit. It's so much more detailed. I love the different use of colors, and I just feel like it looks better. Here's a side-by-side. She definitely has wider arms. I feel like Mirabel didn't get too many changes. Her shoes are exactly the same. Her height is the same. I feel like, I don't know, it kind of looks like this one's taller, and then other times it looks like this one's taller. This is the story Mirabel, and this is one from the 4-packs. They have the same earrings, the same glasses, and pretty much the same dress. This one just has her poncho. And I feel like her body is actually no different from the regular version that she had. Like, it didn't get any updates or improvements or anything, although her skin tone is slightly different. I don't know if you can tell. This one has like a redder hue to it. This one looks more orange. And preference wise, she definitely looks nicer. And she actually has like brown hair. Hers is dark brown. I don't know if you can see that on camera. Last up, I have Princess Aurora. To be honest, she probably has my least favorite design out of the two dolls. Like, both of them just don't look that great. I feel like her face just doesn't look accurate for some reason, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but I just feel like they did not do a good job capturing her. As you can see, she gets like a slightly wider looking face than this one does, and her makeup is also a lot lighter. She has a lot more blush going on as well. The crowns are slightly different because this one is just yellow metallic. This one is a yellow metallic with some painted on details. She does also have her necklace. I just didn't put it on. And she has a different collar going around. She just has sleeves that transition off into her arms. And her bodice is a little off center. I really don't like the way it was made. This dress, I feel like, looks a lot more fitting for Aurora. It looks more elegant than this one does. And I like that this dress actually has the original signature like cutout. This one does not, so it just doesn't look that great to me, but I do really like the use of glitter on both layers. The top mesh layer and the under layer have some glitter. As you can see, this Aurora is taller than this one, and this one does have heeled feet. These are her beautiful heels. And these are her hideous flats. At least the color matches. And here's just a side-by-side. I also really like that this Aurora actually has sleeves on her dress. This one does not. So as you can see, her arm is wider. I know it's a little difficult to see, but when you pinch in the fabric, she definitely has thinner arms and she has thicker ones. That was pretty much it for my comparison. I tried to address all the common questions regarding the shoes and the heights. Let me know if you have any other ones, and in the meantime, I am going to be putting all of these away up there and up there, so wish me luck because they love to play doll dominoes. Thanks for watching. Bye!